What's a random disturbing fact you wish you could unlearn? There are more slaves in the world today than at any other time in human history. According to organizations like the International Labor Organization and Walk Free Foundation, an estimated 50 million people are living in modern slavery, including forced labor, human trafficking, debt bondage, and forced marriage. It's unsettling because it highlights how widespread and invisible these systems can be, even in supposedly advanced societies. Once you know, you start seeing the signs in supply chains, industries, and global economics. There's a condition called Cotard's delusion, where a person truly believes they're dead, completely dead, yet their body hasn't realized it. Some even stop eating or ask to be buried. The human mind is truly terrifying when it breaks. My partner is a neurologist. There are all kinds of wild things that can happen to people when their brains get messed up for different reasons. A classic book called The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat by Dr. Oliver Sacks described fascinating case studies about patients with various neurological disorders. Children under the age of 5 try to hide from fires and not run from them. When I was 3 years old, this actually happened to me. My grandparents' kitchen caught fire, spreading quickly. I ran into the back room and hid under a desk. It couldn't find me, and the house was filling with smoke. The entire side of the house burned down. A firefighter came in, found me, and handed me to another firefighter through the window. It's one of my earliest childhood memories. Dominant female meerkats will kill the pups of lower-ranking females, then make those females feed her own babies as tribute or rent, just to stay in the group. That's seriously hardcore. The whistle of an artillery or mortar shell falling towards you is actually the deviation from its trajectory and where you're currently standing. The closer you are to where it'll land, the less you hear. If it's a direct hit, you won't hear anything at all. If you heard the shot, you weren't the target. Everything about rabies is terrifying, especially the fact that once symptoms appear, it's already too late. I got bitten by a kitten on a beach once, and there isn't a single day I don't think about it. I had the rabies test done, and it showed I never had the disease. Even after 3 years, some nights I can't sleep, wondering if someday I might face one of the most painful deaths a person can experience. Once I read that as a research project, someone put a fake turtle in the road to observe driver behavior, and something like 8% of people deliberately went out of their way to hit the turtle. One day when I was a kid, we were driving home from the beach. My mom, my siblings, my mom's best friend who was driving, and her kids. Suddenly she had to slam on the brakes on the freeway because a pillowcase with big lumps was in the lane. She managed to pull over into the median. Turns out there were 2 tortoises inside. One was sadly crushed and dead, but we rescued the other. My friend kept her on their large property for years. That's when I first learned about illegal animal trade and stealing animals from the wild. The vet confirmed she was definitely a wild tortoise, but since they couldn't find where she came from, she couldn't be released. She lived a good life, free as possible with proper food, shelter, and acres to wander. I named her Lucky that day, and the name stuck. Edit. My friend literally ran onto the freeway to save the live tortoise. She wasn't in a shelter or adopted by anyone else. This happened over 20 years ago in Southern California. I don't remember exactly what kind of tortoise she was, just that she came from the desert. Well, since I'm in the medical field, I guess I'll share one of the things that really surprised me. There's something called a fecal transplant, or FMT, fecal microbiota transplantation. And yes, it's exactly what it sounds like. Someone who's missing healthy gut bacteria gets an FMT to restore it. A healthy person donates their, stool. Then it can be delivered in one of 4 ways: through a colonoscopy, an enema, an upper endoscopy, or even in pill form. So yeah, your doctor can literally tell you to eat shit and be completely serious. We got a dog that had heartworms. They've been treated and are doing perfectly fine now, but it got me curious about them. Heartworms are spread by mosquitoes and can live in most large mammals. So what stops humans from getting them? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. The reason they're not harmful to us is simply that they can't reproduce properly in humans. Honestly, you and I might even have a few right now. And that's true for most parasitic worms, by the way. Your organs make noises as they move, but your brain blocks them out so you don't notice. When I had open heart surgery, my heart settled back in place in a different position than it was in previously. It has caused me difficulty sleeping for years, requiring me to adjust sleeping positions. Not a huge deal, The surgeon at the time explained that once you open someone up, it never goes back exactly the same and the acoustics of the chest are altered. Noise on my ears beats being dead from my heart issue, but still, it's annoying. I used to remind coworkers of this after particularly nasty jobs when I worked as a paramedic. When you smell something, that means microscopic particles of what you're smelling have floated into your nose and sinuses and bonded with a scent receptor. It delivers its message, and then your body breaks down the molecules, and either they get removed from your body by your snot, or they get broken down and become you. Always good to reflect on that when you're dealing with a lot of shit or decomposition. I remember some kid explaining this in middle school, then he followed it up by letting out a humongous fart and laughing like a maniac while we all screamed. When the Soviet Union sent the street dog Leica into space before sending a human, they never intended for her to come back alive. They provided food and water, but there was no plan for her safe return. She survived only a few hours and likely died from heat stress. Her capsule continued to orbit for a few weeks until it re-entered Earth's atmosphere and burned up. This story has always stayed with me. It's been sad to me ever since I first heard it. As a kid, I always thought that the grown-ups had everything under control. As an adult, I realized that every single person alive is an idiot, and it frightens me. Google Unit 731. You're welcome. Every human has about 5 minutes to live, but every time you breathe, it resets the time. If you stop breathing, except for drowning, suffocation, you'll begin to breathe again once you fall unconscious. When you dream, your brain releases tiny trace amounts of DMT. This is why dreams can sometimes feel longer than they are. It causes your perception of time to expand in a way. When you die, seconds before total brain death, your brain releases 2,000 times that amount of DMT in a frantic attempt to calm itself down right at the end of life. The scary part, how do you know you aren't dying right now, and time just feels normal because your brain is being flooded with chemicals in an attempt to make you feel better about your death? That organ donation companies are actually more after your skin and long bone than your organs. There is money in skin. They can do numerous things with it. The way a body looks after skin and long bone donations is something families would be devastated if they saw. PVC pipes stuffed in the legs, with old rags loosely sewn together, feet just flopping around like a jellyfish. They aren't interested in your organs unless you're a child or teen. And sadly, most people say he donated his organs so others could live. High chances are he was skinned and deboned, but no organs were taken. Dolphins are total jerks. They'll sexually assault pretty much anything they think is entertaining. Other dolphins, seals, you name it. They even attack other species for fun, like porpoises, who don't even understand what's happening. They'll also kill baby dolphins, not just their own, but random ones too. Unlike dogs, dolphins have a strict dominance hierarchy, so the biggest jerk always comes out on top. Just when you think you've seen it all. Share a shocking fact you've heard in the comments below. See you in the next video.